Bonsoir, welcome to a new chapter, which is the Conditionnel. Today we are going to turn to a very important aspect of the French language, that is the conditional. Now, you need to understand two things, that conditional itself is not a tense, it's a mood. Just like previously, we have done the Londikati. I told you previously as well that when you were talking about the realities, the things were actually happening or took place or will be taking place, but they are for sure information. That is a mood which is longicati. In the longicati, for the present tense, you have done the présent. For past, you did two tenses. You had mood, which was longicati, but the tenses you did were many. Tenses कौन से थे इसमें? We were doing the present tense, présent simple. We did the past, and there were two categories specifically, and to enumerate them, there were many for the past, but for the past, we did generally the imparfait. We did the passé composé. We did plus parfait. And we did passé récent. When it came to the future tense, we did future simple. Future के लिए we did future simple. And future proche as well. But if you do remember, all of those sentences and tenses were about the information which was a reality. There was no second guessing. There was no hypothesis. There was not a factor that could turn that into the probability. But here we are going to start with the second mode, which is conditional, which shows you the probabilities. Might or might happen. And this is a very formal mode. From now onwards, you can make simple pointers with you that in what situations you can use the conditional. So let's get started, first of all. In English, the conditional is a compound verb, which is would plus the infinitive. This is the structure we are going to use. Most of the time when we will have word and the infinitive along with that, we will be conjugating it according to the main verb. Like, he would travel, he would go. It describes an action that depends on the condition. There is no conformity of the information. Like, he would travel if he had that time. So the if part is always there. There is a condition. It itself is indicating that there is a condition. So in French, the conditional, which we call the le conditionnel, like the future tense, is a simple one-word verb form. It's not a compound tense till now because it is simply the present tense. Le conditionnel présent. The endings you already know. If you have done the imparfait, you know the endings, which is AIS, AIS, AIT, IONS, IEZ. And last but not the least is AIEOT, which are to be added to the infinitive. And the infinitive could only be in the form of future simple. You need to take the radical, the stem of future simple, and you will add the imparfait endings. That is the simple formula to make conditional présent. And as you were doing in the future also, if the verb is ending in E, like it was in RE case, so we will drop the E before endings are added. The rest of the things remain same. The conditional endings are easy to learn as they are parallel endings of the imparfait. They are actually the same. So what we need to remember, the conditional is actually formed, or you can write, is equal to radical in future simple. Whatever the radical of the form is in future simple, you take that, plus you had the imparfait. Voila. C'est présent du conditionnel. Just like in the verb. So we know that the simple ER verb that we always consider for the ER family is parler. This is the model verb of this category. So for parler, it is P-A-R-L-E-R. The whole spellings are going to be the radical because that is the case of the future simple. So you can see parler is written in every form first of all. And then according to our formula, we simply need to have the endings of the imperfect. So according to the subject, for je, it would be AIS. For tu, it would be AIS. For il, elle, on, it would be AIT. For nous, it would be IONS. For vous, it would be IEZ. And for il, elle, plural cases, it would be AIENT. Je parlerai, tu parlerais, il, elle, on parlerait, nous parlions, vous parliez, il parlait, elle parlait. I would speak, you would speak, he, she would speak, we would speak, you would speak, they would speak. Similarly, when it comes to the second group, that is the IR ending group, which is to finish, we simply take the radical. Now I told you that this is going to be the future form, which is the whole form in this case also. So you can see spellings that we need is completely written F-I-N-I-R, F-I-N. Then you have simply the endings of imperfect. AIS, AIS, AIT, IONS, IEZ, and AI. Je finirai, tu finirais, il, elle, on finirait, nous finirions, vous finiriez, il, elle finirait. I would finish, you would finish, he, she would finish, we would finish, you would finish, they would finish. And when it comes to the RE verbs, we have just read the formula that you need to drop the E at the end, the final E, and then you will take it as a whole radical. So it will become VENDR, and you can see the copy paste spelling everywhere for all the conjugations possible. For that, you have just one job to do at the ending: AIS, AIS, AIT, IONS, IEZ, then AIENT, AIENT. Je vendrai, tu vendrais, il, elle vendrait, nous vendrions, vous vendriez, il vendrait, elle. So it is just like I would sell, you would sell, he, she would sell, we would sell, you would sell, they would sell. Now we'll understand some examples to get it more in touch with. So as we have this, I would like to do a bit more exercise. Now you can see this is again the word and the infinitive form in English structure. So I just told you, when you have this kind of the form, you are going to take the conjugation of this. So it is, for like we need to decide. For like we have the whole radical that is aimé. And if the subject pronoun is I, we know the ending is going to be AIS. So it simply would become j'aimerais. To do is in its infinitive form. By default, the rules are there. If first verb is conjugated already, second is going to be in its infinitive. That is fait. A bit more exercise, à pas plus d'exercice. C'est fini. We would gladly sell you this sofa. Now with word, we have the infinitive, that is to sell. We just saw it. So according to the subject pronoun, we, which is nous in this case, nous vendrions, gladly is volontiers. And this sofa is canapé. And for you, this is seode, direct object pronoun. You can use even the and you can use vous as well, as we have done. Are we clear? Last but not the least, the point to be noted is verb with spelling changes. and verb with the irregular stem in the future that we have done in the irregular forms have the same irregular stems. Whatever the stem was, it is going to be the same over here in the conditional. And endings, they were never going to change, okay? They're never going to change. Like here, I would like some advice on the flight. So it is a compulsion. That's why would have been used. Otherwise, you can use the j'aimerais also. It's completely fine. We would be happy to invite you. So with would, infinitive form is be. So you need to use the be form, which is être. And we know in the future sampler, we have done that the future radical of être is going to be ser, S-E-R. So according to that, we will add the stem, SER, and then we will add the ending, the new preposition, that is IONS. So it will become nous sekions au de vous inviter. I would buy. For buy also the spelling changes in the future radical will remain same. Now this is exactly the future radical. If you needed the axograph in the future, you need it here. And you will add AIS according to your subject grammar. Mark told me he would soon go to the Europe. Would go. Again, for go, it was ir. IR was the radical. And because Mark is parallel to il, so we will add the ending AIT. So Mark m'a dit qu'il irait bientôt en Europe. This is all for this lesson. Okay, and tomorrow, once we are done with this and future radical endings, after doing some exercises for that, we will be going to the uses of the present conditional and why it is important if you are, aiming for your exams in the French language. This is all for this chapter.